April 22nd, 1945. Deep beneath the ruins of Berlin, in a bunker sealed by concrete and desperation, a moment unfolded that shattered the last illusion of the Third Reich. On the maps spread across the table, divisions still existed. Arrows still pointed toward counterattacks. Entire armies still appeared ready to move, but these armies were gone. They had died on frozen fields, burned in wrecked cities, or dissolved into scattered survivors wandering toward surrender. Only their symbols remained, ghosts inked on paper. Yet Adolf Hitler leaned over the map and issued orders to these ghosts, commanding them to strike, to save Berlin, to turn back a war that reality had already decided. Joseph Goebbels watched from the wall. After 12 years of absolute loyalty, he understood something he had never allowed himself to think. The Führer's orders could no longer be carried out because there was no one left to carry them out. Hitler's final hope rested on Army Detachment Steiner. On paper, a force capable of smashing through Soviet lines. In truth, Steiner commanded a broken collection of scattered units, teenagers with rifles, exhausted Luftwaffe ground crews, and militia pulled from the ashes of the Reich. There would be no attack. There could be no attack. But Hitler believed otherwise. He moved non-existent divisions across the map. He spoke of tanks that had been destroyed weeks earlier. He imagined air support from a Luftwaffe that could barely put a single plane in the sky. Then came the daily briefing. The question, has Steiner attacked? The answer, delivered by General Hans Krebs, was the truth Hitler had spent months fleeing. No, Steiner does not have the forces. Silence filled the bunker. Then Hitler erupted. Rage, accusations, betrayal. But in the middle of that storm, something inside him finally broke. His voice collapsed into a whisper. The war is lost. For the first time, Goebbels saw a man who no longer believed his own words, a man who had built an empire on willpower and fantasy, and now faced a world that refused to obey him. Hitler refused to flee. He would die in Berlin. The officers around him scattered, desperate to save themselves, their families, their futures. Goebbels didn't move. He didn't speak. Because in that silence, he understood the truth that propaganda could never erase. Steiner didn't attack because Steiner had no army. The Wehrmacht couldn't hold because there were no lines left to hold. The Luftwaffe couldn't fly because it no longer existed. And the German people could not rise again because they were starving, broken, and ready for the nightmare to end. A state built on illusion finally collided with reality, and reality won. What remained in the bunker was not a government, not an army, not even a cause. Only men issuing orders into the void, commanding forces that lived only on maps, clinging to power long after power had evaporated. Goebbels, the man who shaped perception for an entire nation, stood speechless. His silence was his verdict, a final, unspoken truth. No empire survives when its armies exist only on paper. No willpower can defeat the absence of reality. And even the loudest propaganda dies the moment truth walks into the room.